Entry 1. If this ever gets anywhere, I suppose that's good. This can sort of pinpoint for a survival guide to escaping monsters. I guess. Take it as you will. Hate me or love me, this might actually come in handy once. I know what you're thinking. Who the heck has the kind of time to stop and write down rules? Me, I do. Before you start going on a tangent about how I could die doing or get distracted, distractions are nice. They keep me busy from thinking about the monsters. And monsters is a really nice word for whatever the heck those things are outside. They are dark and lengthy in all the ways possible. Their long legs, even their torso is long. Their eyes are dark, gaping holes, which, if you stare at long enough, you'd get deeply lost. I have a theory that if you stare long enough, you would turn into one. But I digress. Sometimes in life, rules can come in handy, and being a high school rule breaker, it's really saying a lot. Speaking of, that was the first place everyone went to hide. What kind of cliché say, school is safe, it isn't. Rule 1 and number 2 taught me that, but I'm not mentally available to tell you about both of those rules. Every aspect of life, everything you think you know, everything you think you believe, might just come crashing down. That's what happens when you box everything in. We do that a lot. We give things a label so we can box it, and then we stack those boxes up, and when something even remotely questioning happens, those boxes come crashing down. Here's a little story. Just trust me, it'll come in handy for later. When I was in high school, there were these two girls. One was named Vanessa, and the other was named Vivian. Vivian was the nicest girl that you would ever meet. And then there was Vanessa, the entire other end of the spectrum. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't sunshine and rainbows in high school, but Vanessa liked to spit on people. So one day, Vivian was walking home, and Vanessa was following her. She asked her to come over to her house, and for reasons that no one really knows, she was excited that someone finally wanted to be her friend, so she said yes. Vanessa was nice to her until she wasn't. Rumors flooded around that she liked girls. She outed her when she wasn't even into girls. Vivian ended up moving towns. Serves her right. That was about 9 months before the monster showed up. But I didn't tell you that story so you could see a form of justice. I told it because I wanted you to know my reasoning for why I called one breed Vanessas. There are many different breeds. Vanessas are the scariest, and the biggest one, which there is only one. I call that the mom. Not because I don't love my mom, but because I studied its behavior, and all the Vanessas listen to her. So she is the mother. The mom was the scariest of them all. Not even the Dillas were as scary. There were 5 others than the mom, Vanessa and Dilla. Kilken, Randall, Skolo, Gina, and Shock. These are the names that I've given them. No real thoughts other than these people terrorized my life, and something else has taken their place. It's really only fair that I give them some recognition. I have 10 full rules, not including rule number 1 and number 2. I will cover them all in great time. For now, I must tell you about my special rule. Rule number 3. When the moon turns red, hide. I don't know if the world we live in is a simulation of some kind or if I'm crazy, but when the moon turns red, for me at least, I hide. At first, I thought a red moon was really cool, but now when the mom's screeching can be heard deep in the valley, bouncing off the doom that we are trapped in, there is nothing cool about it. It was a complete accident that I figured this out. I was looting a med store for supplies, obviously, when I felt tired for no reason. Well, honestly, there was plenty of reasons, from the things that I had witnessed prior in the day, and outrunning those ugly Vanessas, Either way, I wanted to lay down. My legs ached and my lungs were on their last stretch. I was tired and the bags under my eyes could carry the groceries. The air, despite the horrors of the day, was crisp and clean, and breathing it in made me feel that much more normal. But then that was all washed away when I looked down at my beige and blue striped shirt, and the memory came flooding back as I stared at the bloodstain. I wanted to take it off of me, throw it in a fire, erase the old me that loved wearing this shirt. Only I couldn't. I didn't have another one, and it was cold. I needed all the clothes that I could get. Sadly, my zip-up hoodie wasn't really fixing that issue, but it wasn't stained with blood. So I angrily zipped up my hoodie, hiding the stain underneath, like a dirty secret. But my finger got caught in the zipper. Crap. Can you be quiet? I heard a voice say. I nearly died from a heart attack, and this person was telling me to be quiet. Shut up or get out. I don't care which one. Yelling attracts those things. Sorry, I mumbled. I grabbed for the extra bandages on the shelf before I felt something behind hit. I turned around, throwing the bandages at the girl standing in front of me. Crap. Sorry, she mumbled. I wanted to see what you look like. And, I don't know, but thanks for the bandages, she smiled, grabbing for the boxes on the floor. Hey, no, give those back, I called after her. She turned around, sticking her tongue out at me. I never got your name. She opened the door, turning to face me. Why you stopped? Aren't you coming with me? I was staring at this girl. She had to have been no older than myself, same height. I was only about an inch taller. She wasn't bad looking, and it hit me. We might have been the only two left in this godforsaken town. And she was gorgeous. Are you okay? Did one of those things bite you? She asked, making a face. I shook my head no. It's a bit cold, isn't it? I nodded, walking towards her. Name? I asked again. Olivia. She wound up. Yours? Okay, don't laugh. Stop, why are you laughing? I haven't even told you yet. Because you told me not to. Fine. My name is Blair, I said, and she laughed. I told you not to. I thought you were gonna have some janky name like Ted or something. She slapped at her knee. Her laughter made me smile because it wasn't screeching. I'm a girl. Why would my name be Ted? She stopped laughing for a second. What? Do you hear that? No, I don't hear anything. That's the problem, she started. She turned her back to the store. No noises, no sound, no nothing. Blair, the last time that it was this quiet was right before those things showed up, I finished. She turned back to face me. Where did they go? No clue, and I don't want to know, she said. Her voice was low. She was right. There were no noises, no sounds. Only the sound of our feet meeting the concrete. Let's go back. It might be safer. Nothing is safer anymore. She stared off in front of us. But you might be right, and it's better to be with someone than to be alone. You just don't want to die alone, I corrected. Yeah, dying alone would suck. She walked ahead of me. Her shirt was clean, but she was cold. Stop, I called. She turned and looked at me, confused. Here, I said, taking my jacket. You're colder than me. Hey, thanks, she said, putting it on. I'll admit that I was cold, but she only had a crop top on. Fair is fair. It was darker when we got back to the med store. I had a couple packs of glow sticks, and I gave half of everything I had to Olivia, after we did a full inventory. Yes, I refused her stuff. She probably would just use it for herself or put it in a bag when I was sleeping. She thanked me once I had handed her the last of the stuff that I was giving her. She was tired, and I could tell. Even under the little glow of the green and pink glow sticks, I could see the bags under her eyes. "Stop staring," she whispered. "I know I look like a wreck." No, you don't. You just look a little tired is all," I said. "You don't, by the way." She looked at me confused. "I look like a wreck, you don't." "Gee, thanks. Shivery isn't dead after all," she joked, and I laughed. And then we met beds and laid in them. Hers was a hammock hanging from one shelf right next to the other. I, on the other hand, was fine with the floor. My whole life, I've been good at tracking movement. I always listened for my mother's footsteps at night when she was coming to check on me. I was good at feeling the vibrations. So, if a Vanessa or the million other names I could care less to name right now were coming, I would feel and hear it. I felt like I needed to stay up, that if I fell asleep, I would wake up and it would be a dream. While part of me would be relieved that it was a dream, I knew that Olivia wouldn't be there. And the bitter truth really hit me when I was being shaken awake by someone. I pushed them off and heard a crash. Whoops, I had pushed Olivia into a shelf. Jesus, my bad. It's okay. She got up, rubbing at her head. I'm okay. But I heard something. That's why I woke you up. Was it a mom? A what? A mom, you know. That really big one that screeches and then those other ones that follow. I call her the mom, I explained. Don't look at me like that. I heard someone. She moved closer to me. Or something. This something sent chills down my spine. We were no longer in our little world. There were things and its now. What did it sound like? I don't know, she said in a whisper, but it scared me. Fine, I'll go look, I said, getting up. Her hand wrapped around my wrist and then she let go. If I don't come back, take the stuff and run. No, don't die. I don't know what I'll do. I can't do this alone. Then come with me, I whispered. At least we would go out together, I joked. She giggled a little before standing up beside me. She followed me to the door, and then like I figured, I would have to go into that little back room by myself. Not that I wasn't absolutely thrilled to go inside that dark, pitch-black abyss, never-ending blackness of a room or anything. I just figured maybe it would be nice to have some company. I was wrong. I pushed it open, slightly hoping to alert whatever was in there that I was coming. In hindsight, it wasn't my brightest idea, I know that. But monsters are afraid of what they don't know, just like we are. I had my math teacher once tell me that spiders were really more afraid of us than we were of them. The same with snakes and everything in between. And maybe that's true. But maybe, just maybe those same rules applied here. Those monsters had to be just as afraid of us as we were of them. I didn't see anything in the room clearly, though I heard shuffling noises and that was enough for me to believe Olivia's beliefs. And then they were fully confirmed when I felt a warmness in my leg, and then pain. Something stabbed me, and then everything went red from there. Or maybe everything was already red. The room was so dark that I couldn't have known that it was red, but it was. All the same, the red moon brings out the horrible side of life. No, not like in that one show where they begin murdering each other. I mean all the monsters are out. Screeching, hunting. It wasn't a monster that stabbed me though. It was a child. Because Olivia caught whoever it was because she thought it was me. I came out of the room. Olivia was holding the child, and then her eyes shot up to mine, and then to my leg. Blair. I'm fine. I sat down next to them with a grunt. I reached for my pack when realizing the girl has a slash on her arm, and her clothes were stained red with blood. I reached to touch her arm, but she flinched and pulled away from me. Hey, it's all right. I'm promised that I'm not mad about my leg. To be fair, it doesn't hurt that bad. She did move in Olivia's arms. Hey, let me help. I won't hurt you. You want me to do it? Olivia asked. The girl nodded. I handed her the pack. All right, what's your name? Lydia. That's a pretty name, Olivia mumbled, grabbing the disinfectant. My name is Olivia, and this is Blair. She saved me. I did. From the shadows? She asked. Her eyes fell upon mine for the first time. They were a pretty ocean blue. Olivia nodded. Yeah, and then she gave me some band-aids. She reached for the ace bandage right beside her. She wasn't going to hurt you, you know. She was just checking. We thought there was no one else here. There isn't, she mumbled. The shadows got them all. Daddy screamed. The room fell silent. He told me that everyone was going to be okay. But then the shadows took him and Mama, and then everything got dark. They'll be all right. I knew that I was lying. I knew that they ended up like everyone else. We'll try and find them. They're dead, aren't they? She asked. Mama said the same thing when our dog went missing. Tucker, he was real nice, but he got hit by a car. And when I asked my mom, she said that we would look for him, that he was all right. But he wasn't, he was dead. So they are too. Maybe. I whispered truthfully. Who knows? You've got us now. Thanks. Her head fell on Olivia's shoulder. But the monsters were still running around outside, screaming and screeching. They were hunting still, and we were sitting ducks. They could smell my blood. So, rule number 3. Hide when everything turns red, when the moon shines with blood, because the monsters are hunting, and nowhere is safe.